Good afternoon, Professor Guha and Professor Kumar. I welcome
compared to the wheat. Okay, and and since we have seen that in the previous slide, there is actually a lots of interlinked relationship between the rainfall and the crop yield. Okay, so since the paddy is showing a lower growth rate, maybe it is primarily due to the it may be associated with the rainfall sensitivity, and since rainfall is actually is going down and fluctuation a lot, that will be impacting the paddy much more than the wheat. This is the growth rate of yield. Okay, so between the paddy and wheat. So now we'll actually move to our work. Okay, so since it is given the audience, what I'll try to do is actually I'm going to be less technical. Okay, so because of this, what I'll do, I'll not represent the equations and the estimation tables. Okay, I'll just show the key factors who influence the yield. Okay, and then I will go to the results and the policy implications. I think that will actually attract more attention and more important. Okay, so these are the key factors which we have taken into account. Rainfall deviations, the measure of RAI I have already told. Temperature, we have measured temperature by seasonal average of daily maximum temperature. So what we have done is actually, since we have the paddy is generally produced in Kharif, so the Kharif seasonal average of daily maximum temperature we have taken, and similarly for during the Rabi, actually we have used for the wheat. Okay, is the average daily maximum temperature we have taken, and then we have taken for irrigation, irrigated land ratio. Okay, then AQ represents the ratio of land covered by the aquifers, total cropping area, and then we have also taken the lag yield. Okay, which generally proxy the trend, the path dependency of the yield essentially linked with the technology followed and improved mix, because those does not change overnight. And also we have actually taken the MSP, because MSP essentially indicates that what is the assurity of return a farmer have, okay, in the production of paddy and wheat. Now this is the all India temperature in agricultural season, and here also we see that actually the temperature over the years are going up. This is from 1970 to 2020, last 50 years. Okay, both in Kharif season and the Rabi season. So this is the Rabi season and this is the Kharif season. Okay, and both actually is showing that there is an increasing temperature. Okay, and that's the reality. Okay, so our rainfall is coming down over the years and temperature is going up. Okay, and so this is the irrigation distribution of our country. Okay, so left side map essentially link the location of dams, which does not correlate with the canal network. Meanwhile, right map suggests the aquifer and canal functions as complementary source of water. Okay, so this is so basically the three alternative of irrigations. One is that dam reservoirs, which are supposed to be linked with the canal network. The second source is essentially the aquifer, okay, the wells and so on and so forth. Okay, and so this is the source-wise irrigated area percentage in India. Okay, solid line represent the wells and dotted line are the canal. Okay, so we can see that still our irrigation largely dominated by the wells, and the canal irrigations as a percentage is actually much lower compared to the well irrigations. Okay, that's the composition of the irrigations we use. Okay, and this is the MSP real. We have actually dictated by the rural CPA essentially to tell that how much actually farmer actually receive in real terms. So this is the real MSP for last 20 years. Okay, and we see that though there was an increase, but from 2010 onwards, there was a downward trend in the MSP, real MSP, and 2015 onwards, though there is a rising trend, so MSP is going up, but definitely this trend is much lower than which was there between 2005 to 2010. Okay, and so that is what is the, okay, there is a rice and paddy. Okay, so this is what how the MSP has changed over the years. Okay, and now the question is how MSP essentially influence the yield, because MSP essentially indicate that what will be the return, how much assured that return is. When the government guarantee MSP, that gives some degree of assurity. And so from that assured return, actually the farmer use the input choices and the fertilizers, and that actually influence the yield. Okay, and you see, so we can see that MSP and input intensity has a substantial correlation. Okay, for all the crops. Okay, so the first one is the MSP and the cultivated area. So these two are the MSP and the cultivated area, and these two are the MSP and the fertilizer use. So both, that how much land will be cultivated, that is also have substantial interlinked with the MSP, and also the fertilizer use also have a substantial, it actually substantially encouraged by the MSP. Okay, so these are the 4 type of models we have used: simple FE, asymmetric, effective, positive, negative anomalies, rainfall deviations categories, and dynamic panel. But I am not getting to the detail of them. I'm just skipping them. Time is also an issue. So what I'll go is that I'll come to the main results we got, what we got from these exercises. Okay, the first results we got is that moderate positive rainfall deviations improve the yields. Okay, so if there is a moderate increase in rainfall than the long run average, that essentially good for the and wheat, especially for the paddy. Okay, but extreme positive deviations leads to a decline. Okay, so flood. The negative deviation consistently decrease the yield. Okay, so even if there is a marginal deviation, that will reduce the yield, and with the most substantial losses observed in the severe rainfall deficit. But in extreme deficit situation, the observed yield loss is lower than the moderate deficit conditions. Okay, so this is likely due to the large-scale farmers leaving some high-yield cropping areas unutilized during the adverse situations. Okay, and the small farmers then not really reducing the cropping area, but they are reducing the input use. Okay, and so that is why actually this result is coming. The second results we are getting is that irrigation measured through total irrigated land ratio has a significant positive effect on yield during the moderate and large rainfall deviations, but the effect diminishes and becomes insignificant in extreme deficit condition of rain. Okay, so the irrigated land ratio, that's actually worked very well when there is a small, moderate, or even a large rainfall deviation, but when there is extreme rainfall deviation.
Professor Guha, can you go back to your result one and explain the other than the first point? Yeah, thank you.
So which one?
Clear, but other point?
The negative deviation consistently decrease the yield. Okay, and if there is and the extreme positive deviation lead to a decline. So it's a flood situation. If there is a definitely flood situation or excessive rain, that will reduce the yield. And if the negative deviations, so even there is a small change in a fall from the long-term average rainfall, there will be fall in the yield. Okay, and when this rainfall, negative rainfall is negative, this deficiency is much more, that naturally the yield also is much more. Okay, but in the extreme deficit situations, okay, maybe the observed yield loss is lower than the moderate deficit conditions, because in the moderate deficit conditions, even the large farmer may not actually leave their land uncultivated, but when there is a extreme situations, they can afford to leave their land without getting cultivated. But the small farmers, they don't really have the option to leave their land back without any use. What they generally do, they reduce the cost of cultivation by using maybe lower input, etc., during the drought situation. So that's why the sensitivity to the yield in the extreme drought situation is actually lower than the moderate dry situation. The extreme dry situation to moderate dry situation. Okay. The second thing is the irrigation. As I said, that the irrigated
Atulan sir, we have lost your voice. I think it's the internet issue.
So you, Professor,
upon that.
we are not able to hear you. Huh?
Disconnect.
My slide.
I think we lost you after you might have to continue with key result 2. Yeah.
So you please unmute yourself, sir. This unmute.
अच्छे से कोर्स बनाना इज नॉट इजी.
Hello, am I audible?
हाँ.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my slides is visible.
No, sir.
नमस्ते.
No?
कैसा हो? कैसे हो?
Yes.
Now it is visible, sir. Yes, sir.
चलो अच्छा है.
Okay. So the
So you're not audible. We can see your slides, but you're not audible.
irrigation. Hello.
Now you're audible. Yes, sir. Now you're audible.
Now, the problem with the aquifer based irrigation is essentially that it actually use the groundwater a lot, and so the long and reached by the long term rainfall, and so maybe it is problematic in the long run. Okay, and the reason that why we are getting this differentiation between these two results, you know, that if the rain is less, the water in the canals also will be the less, but whereas the aquifers are essentially recharged by the long-term rainfall. But the excessive use of this will actually, in the long run, will create a major problem in the water. So this is actually one of the major issues, that how we can actually increase our canal-based irrigation system and reduce the use of the groundwater, because even if the groundwater, we have an incentive to use it because it is more actually, and then that's a contradiction, in the sense that groundwater is actually less susceptible to the less rainfall in a particular year or rainfall fluctuations in a particular year. Okay, because it depends upon the long-term rainfall trend. But on the other hand, if we use groundwater a lot, and so the long term we'll have a difficulties to getting the enough water. So how we can actually increase the canal-based system and also have a greater water level, that's actually a challenge. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this third result is the MSP. Okay. So as we already said, that MSP influence the yield by motivating or discouraging the input usage, changing land allocation, fertilizer applications, the other production factor. Okay. Now, in our study, MSP appears to mitigate yield losses in moderate deficit conditions, though its effect not sufficient in severe drought scenario. This suggests that MSP incentives are insufficient in extreme weather conditions, where farmers may reduce their input usage due to the lower expected return, inputting the lesser land or lesser fertilizer, etc. So what are the policy suggestions out of this which is coming out? So these findings reinforce the need for an integrated approach for agricultural risk management. Combining improved irrigation infrastructure, targeted water conservation policy, flexible price support mechanisms to stabilize the farm productivity under this climatic uncertainty. India's irrigation infrastructure primarily relies on canals, reservoirs, groundwater extension, and government schemes like PMKSY are aimed at water use efficiency. The share of wells irrigations has significantly increased in the last 2-3 decades, but while a decreasing trend in the canal irrigation share is apparent. So the regulated groundwater extraction has to be done, because otherwise this over-reliance on aquifer will lead to the water depletion, and which will be very devastating for us. So there has to be a greater regulation on groundwater extraction. And we should also prioritize the surface irrigation projects in drought-prone districts, as ILR is more effective and cheaper than groundwater irrigations. And the precision irrigation techniques, such as drip and sprinkler irrigation, should also be encouraged to optimize water use under uncertain rainfall conditions. Okay. And for the return of the farmers, climate insurance program maybe could be introduced. However, the latter is complex in processing and timely payment. It needs to be worked out in detail. Okay. And because currently whatever the crop insurance is there, I think that is for the crop failure. but not really the climate insurance program. And MSP is there. MSP support procurement-driven staple crops, wheat, rice, and wheat, but it does not explicitly take into account the climate risk. There is a process in the MSP. Drought contingent MSP adjustment has been there, but some in form of bonus amount. Okay, but it is announced sometimes, but apparently that is minimal amount. So if we cannot work out the insurance-based system, maybe we have to bring in when we're fixing the MSP, we need to bring in the climatic risk into it. Okay, so that's a major thing which is to be. And the small holders continued cultivating during the droughts, while large farmers reduced the land under cultivation in extreme conditions. So government need to promote the climate resilient cropping, and which it is still limited. It has to be enhanced. How we can actually from the high yield water intensive grains to the seeds to how more the climate resilient, but on the other hand, high yield varieties we can get. That's a technological challenge, but we need to work out that. Okay, and the small landholders continue cultivating as they cannot leave their land uncultivated due to the food security reasons. So, but they limit their other inputs uses, expectation of lesser revenue. So such situation can be handled by providing early financial incentive to the small landholders, so some kind of rescue for them. Okay. And finally, a more efficient climate advisory services, weather forecasting tool should be expanded to assist farmers in making timely decisions about the uncertainty about the climate. So these are the broad policies. Some of the things is actually need to be worked out in detail. Okay, it has to. It is that the long-term trend of the rainfall and the temperature is such that that we need to actually take into account increasingly over the years. The way earlier we used to see the incentive structures for the farmers, okay, and that incentive structures, the climate conditions or climate risk increasingly has to be getting integrated. Otherwise, it will be difficult for the farming to actually to provide the food security to our country. So that's all from my side.
Thank you, sir. Thank you it was wonderful to see that the research analysis ranges 120 years. It's very overwhelming to understand these trends. So thank you once again. We'll take up the questions at the end. And now I request Dr. Harish Kumar, sir, to please speak on his topic, digital transformation and governance.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir. Professor Guha, please stop sharing so that I can start.
I have stopped sharing. No?
Okay, so okay. Yes. A very good afternoon to all. I hope that my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this topic talks about like a digital transformation, that is a trendy thing apart from the technological uses and technological trend. What we can implement or what we can think to incorporate in terms of the technological uses in the governance part. So first, I will discuss about some public utilities where we can think and where the people have already started using digital transformation concepts. And apart from that, I will discuss as a top management, how we can lead the digital transformation projects and what are the challenges are associated with this, what are the technologies are available in the market so that we can think of to implement. And finally, I will discuss the complete project pipeline, how to execute the projects in terms of the digital transformation to improve the operationality of the governance at any level by using the technology, and how we are going to successfully execute the complete project. So let me begin with the public utility example first, that this is a simple case of a hand wash. If we remember that before COVID-19, right, most of the people have this practices is at least in tier 2 and villages or rural areas. But when the COVID-19 came and people were aware that not to touch, or maybe a contactless hand wash or maybe some other thing, so the companies, or I can say the process, has been improved by using the digital transformation to make use of the technology to make this as a contactless hand wash practice. So to move ahead in this, how this public utility have been changed by using the digital transformation concept by implementing multiple technology, like I can say the sensor technology they have implemented, level sensors, maybe you can say digital accounts, IoT, cloud computing, like supply planning, or I can say connected is supply planning, warehousing management, and all these things are automated. Whenever a soap level is getting decreases, it is an auto alert to the warehouse or maybe to the authority or maybe the concerned pupil, so that they can refill based on the frequency card and another one, right? So this simple public utility have been changed by using the technology in a strategical way, so that it has become a contactless and vast practices. And what the companies are doing, companies has changed their products, company has changed their practices or processes, and they have changed their entire supply chain and entire manufacturing process to enhance their practices just for a hand wash practice, right? So this is the public utility example where we can think and where we can talk about that application of digital technologies to enhance the existing processes in a strategic way. I'm repeating this, that a strategic way. So that means digital transformation stands for the three keywords. First one is strategic planning. That is more important. As a top management, as a policy maker, we should think about that how we are going to execute or how we are going to upgrade any existing process in a strategic way. Second keyword here is technological utilization. Near around in the market, more than 100 technologies are available as of now. If we talk about from the perspective of the technological uses like AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, uh, like big data, and so and so. So which technology is going to enhance the operationality and service part of or service delivery of the governance side? First thing, it is again a brainstorming exercise for most of the top policy makers. Out of the n number of the technology available in the market, which one is the best suited for our process? Which one we are going to invest? Which one is going to be implemented it at earliest? And finally, the new application. The third keyword here is application part. Which process we are facing the issues? Like in case of the hand wash public utility, the people were facing issues with the hand wash or hand soap, right? So understand the problem, understand the issues, and based on that, think the upgradation of that existing application or create a new application for the public utility. So what I can summarize as a digital transformation as a concept is integration of technology in a strategic way, the way governments function in a more efficient, transparent, and citizen-centric practices. That's why we are talking about this digital transformation in governance. But let me clarify with the three keywords here: digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. When we started the computer era in 1990s or before that, so we were focusing on the paperless working culture, right? All the data should be in the form of the memory, in the form of the hard disk, in the form of the storage in computer or maybe other devices. But when we came after 2005 or maybe somewhere, so we had moved to digitalization where we were able to see like online payment, and I can say online shopping as well, online social medias, right? Multiple things using the digital information for a new application. But now in 2025, or we have started from 2018, digital transformation processes to talk about new things. Is the third keyword here is, apart from the first two, digitization and digitalization, is strategy. how we are going to implement the complete projects and how we are going to lead all the digital projects in a strategic way year and year on. So let's say whenever we are saying a plan for 2030 India, a plan for 2047 India, right? A plan for, or maybe upgradation or digital skilling or digital India 2047. This is the strategically planning how we are going to execute year wise or phase wise, I can say, right? With the technology, whatever the technology we have in 2025 or we had in 2020 or we had in 2015 may not be the same, or maybe the better experience or better technology might be available in 2030 or maybe in 2035 that we have not even thought of as of now, but we are talking about 2047 or maybe 2030. So that is the strategic planning. That means ready with the future or ready for the future with the technological uses to develop the India from the government perspective, right? So why we should talk about this and how we are going to execute it. So delivery of government services, again, it is a challenge whenever the population is getting increased, whenever we are increasing our services, developing new benefits to the citizens. Again, there will be challenges for the delivery of the government services and citizen engagement again. So when we were talking about the M governance, e-governance, and like a collaborative governance, again, there was a challenge of this enhancing citizen engagement and optimizing the government operations. So another thing nowadays, if we talk about Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0 from the government perspective, they are saying about the hyper customization, how the government is going to this concept utilize for the government services to make the services whatever the people are looking for, not from the top side, it is a bottom to up top approach. How to tailor the services or offers from the government side that is the best suited to the citizens of India. So why it is demanded in this government sector, like increasing demand for the services and technological advancement day to day. So every year we are moving with the new technology, we are implementing the new technology and how it is going to cope up with the increasing demand of the services and utilities. The third one here is to reduce the risk of errors. Errors means maybe a mismatch or maybe like a no beneficiary in that case, or maybe false beneficiary, I can say, or maybe a cyber security risk nowadays. Like we have a deep fake and deep face and what you can say, other issues like cyber security issues in our government sectors, or whenever we are using more and more online platforms, right? Now, if we talk about this, yes. Yes. So if we talk about in terms of the technology, like what are the technology available in the market and how it is going to help us in which we are working as a top policy maker. Maybe we might be working for the automation, we might be working for the detailed data and decision making, we might be working for customer relationship, or I can say citizens relationship, citizen engagement, transparency of the government, or might be for the networking, upgradation of the IT infrastructure in terms of the Indian system, right? So these are the few technology that I have listed from the multiple sources, like in terms of if we talk about 2040 47 or maybe 2035 India, that we might be moving towards the robotics, additive manufacturing. That's another aspects, maybe using the drones for monitoring security, like autonomous automobiles. We have already started working with the electric vehicles and driverless metros in most of the cities. Intelligent processes, like I was mentioning about the auto alerts and auto notification systems. Like what I can say in that case, like whenever there is an incident, why people should report, why the third person should report that something has happened, it should be an auto alert system. Let's say in case of the accident, in case of the ambulance to call, in case of the police to call, or in case of any system, it should be auto alert system, intelligent processes. It should alert the doctor nearby hospital as well, right? Apart from that, like e-commerce practices, and nowadays we are talking about social commerce and commerce, and we are using more and more in terms of the like sensor technology in most of the products and services or most of the public infrastructure, including our what I can say street lamps as well, right? To collect the maybe air quality, to collect maybe your environmental indicators, or maybe the crowd management. Apart from that, smart factory, Industry 5.0, so like most of the government is focusing on the industrial hub to be developed in India. And we can talk about this smart factory or digital factories nowadays with the use of the cyber physical systems, right? We can develop more and more platforms, mobile applications in that case. We can make use of this IoT, big data, and wearables. Wearables means like a health concerns, maybe smartwatch or maybe some other applications that are developed for the public utility by the government, including so we can have like predictive maintenance, database routing, demand prediction. There's a lot of things, including the drones, right? So these are the few technology. Apart from this, I can talk about this augmented reality, virtual reality nowadays, and maybe metaverse soon in government sector as well. AI, another thing like AI and automation, RPA, robotic process automation, another thing. So these are the few technology available that we can think of to implement to enhance our existing processes wherever we are working and wherever we are heading our department or heading our team, technical team, or maybe the executing team. So there is another challenge here is like how to start and how to say that we have complete one project in digital transformation aspects. So there are 4 aspects in this. Like the first thing we need to, as a top policymaker of our department or maybe our sector, like first thing is a frame. Second one is a focus. Third one is mobilize, and fourth one is a sustain. First thing is a frame. That means what are the opportunities available, what are the threats available, where we stands in terms of our organization, where we stands in terms of our service product offerings, where we stands in terms of the information availability to the citizens, right? Build awareness. My first point, whenever you think to start any project in terms of the digital transformation, we need to think about the build awareness, how we are facing the issues, what are the challenges associated with this with our existing process and operations, that we need to come up and we need to analyze. So it is not a simple exercise. We might be going for multiple brainstorming exercise with our top policymakers. We might be discussing with experts as well. We might be inviting for the seminars or maybe some people. That might be like a finding that this is the crucial issue that we need to resolve by using this. So first, then know your starting point. That means what are the digital competencies we have? Digital competencies is what are the digital infrastructure available, what are the process we have already done, what are the digital projects are already going on in the process, and where we stand. So apart from that, issues in existing processes. So that will lead us to think a new vision to lead our organization or to lead our project for the next 5 years or next 10 years, right? So that is it, existing process issues. That again is maybe a market-based research, maybe your citizen feedback, maybe your governance feedback, maybe your employee feedback, maybe your product-related feedback. So these things will help you to know about your starting point. Like I was mentioning the example of the public utility hand wash, right? Another thing here is if we talk about this craft a vision, that means if you think about this, whenever we start any project, we have to write a vision along with the mission, right? So similarly for smart cities, for other projects, maybe Digital India, maybe Digital Skill India, whatever we can think. So in this case, what might be your expected outcomes of your project, right? So what is the feedback? What are the crowdsource ideas that you have done, right? Yeah, so I will discuss about the negative aspect as well. So I will take the like questions later. Let me cover the aspects of this. Thanks for writing this query. So apart from that, what are the digital future we are thinking and we are going to lead our organization? And apart from that, how to streamline the operations, whatever we are working or whatever we are leading as of now. Apart from that, if we talk about this strategic goals, so focus. Now the terms is called as a focus, strategic goals. We need to talk about what are the new technology we can think of to implement. Again, it is a brainstorming exercise. It will take 1 month or maybe more than 1 month to discuss with all the technological partners or maybe all the technical experts that which technology is going to resolve our existing issue. That market change might be possible, maybe political condition might be changed, and organizational change are also required whenever we are talking in terms of the new implementation or new technology implementation. If we talk about the governance part, build your governance. That means who will be accountable, develop the teams, who will be taking the responsibility, what are their roles, different functions, business units, or I can say government units, coordination and sharing among all the units, so that there should not be any information lack or information gaps in that case. Apart from that, who is taking the digital transformation? Maybe your IT department, if you're making a marketing department, operation department, or if the complete whole organization is going to be responsible for this. So apart from that, if we talk about the funding part, how to get a fund for the new projects in terms of the new technological implementation and execution. So let's say we talk about this digital investment. So let's say based on the assessment of your ROI. If we are going to implement or we are going to invest in this particular technology, that what is my ROI, right? Short-term payoff or maybe long-term payoff, we need to think. Apart from that, funding incubators, research collaboration, balanced portfolio investment, we can talk about this. The third one here is mobilize, how to mobilize our people, those who are working with, or to whom we are working with, right? So let's say, so first thing is to signal your ambitions. So co-creating solution, we might be inviting for the citizens as well. Like nowadays, most of the people or most of the government are opening doors for bottom to top up approach to invite citizens for feedback, like mygov.ac.in is there, and other thing like state-wise, if we talk, or city-wise also talk, that there are a lot of online platforms are available where government is asking citizens to like suggest the ideas or write their issues so that the government can start working on that. And the right engage. That means like change management, detailed implementation plan we need to develop. Apart from that, we talk about this set new bound behaviors. That means digital working. People should not be afraid of using the new technology. We need to think, we need to create such culture so that people should welcome the implementation of new technology than the fearing of the job loss. Online forums we need to create, we need to develop the technical collaborations, innovative culture we need to develop in this. And finally, if we talk about this sustain, that means if we are doing today, we need to sustain for tomorrow as well. That means if you are talking about 2030 or 2035 or 2047, we need to sustain the projects or the practices till for a longer period and while upgrading also. That means it is a completely iterative process. That means we need to give the training to our employees. We need to develop the digital platforms. We need to hire as well. We need to like exchange. We need to go for the exchange programs and learning by doing approach. Apart from that, we need to give the like incentives, rewards, recognitions, right? Employees who are associated with this so that they should be motivated for the complete project. And finally, measure, monitor, and iterate. That means review progress and iterations, scorecard, and performance analysis. So again, once we have done the one cycle, again we are going to analyze the existing one. Again, we are going to repeat. So it is like iterative upgradation, or I can say incremental progression based on the iteration, right? Now, if we talk about this, let's say Canvas. What is the meaning of this? Let's say we have decided to develop a project on digital transformation in governance. So how we are going to start and how we are going to based on this exercise and other thing. So there is a digital transformation canvas that gives a systematic view of the digital transformation. So first thing, we need to identify our key elements on which we are or for which we are going to work on this, right? Systematic elements in this. What is the meaning of this? This is the complete canvas I can discuss in detail. There are 11 elements in this. So anyone leading any digital transformation project or digital transformation initiative, they might be coming to all the 11 elements to work in, right? So what is the 11 elements are categorized into 4 pillars. What I can say, the 4 categories: digital transformation strategy. My first pillar is my first box. The second one here is digital transformation operational pillars. Third one, DD values. In terms of the values, it might be value propositions and it might be a value differential as well. How we are different from the other government, how from the state government, how we are different from the district government, or how my values or my product or my offerings from the government side are different or maybe unique than the previous one. Differential as well as the propositions. Finally, one the DT like a pitfalls. What are the issues or what are the challenges we may come across to these things? So in a short way, if I start discussing this, the first one is DT strategy, like purpose of the initiatives that we need to identify, we need to highlight with the brainstorming and the expert opinions, right? Strategic direction, which one is going to lead what? We need to be very careful about when, like I was mentioning, the three keywords in this: strategic, technology, and application. So strategic direction, which planning or which initiative is going to lead what? We need to be very careful. So apart from that, if we talk about to enhance the citizen satisfactions, efficiency in services and experiences of the citizens to increase, we need to write the purpose. We need to write our internal, external, stakeholders. Apart from that, what are the needs to develop this project, right? Apart from that, feasibility analysis in this strategic part only. And another thing here is users' expectations. The fifth one here is users' expectations. If we talk about the second pillar here, like DT operational pillars, it is divided into the four quadrants, or I can say the four pillars in this process. First one is the process, second people, third platform, and fourth one is the partner. Project is a constraint here. The middle one here is, if we talk about this, if you are able to see my cursor, project is my constraints. First one is what are the time limit? Maybe the 1 year, 2 years project, maybe 3 years, maybe 5 years project, maybe 10 years project. The second one is what is the budget constraint and what are the risks associated with this project in terms of the technological, in terms of the implementation, in terms of your execution, right? So if we talk about this process, cycle like activities, coordination, and so and so. Apart from that, in terms of the people, internal employees, external stakeholders, maybe citizens, maybe your partners, maybe your collaborators, right? Apart from that, we need to work out on this how we are engaging and we are allowing the public to participate in the governance process. Like I have stated that government has already working on this, like developing the online platforms to invite all the citizens to write some issues or maybe the ideas. If we talk about this third one, platform, digital artifact, what are the digital objects are available, what are the digital documents, audio, video, software applications are available, we need to work digital infrastructure in terms of the networking, computing capabilities, communication, digital services, right? But in terms of the partner, if we talk about like complementers, very very important in this, those people who know how know, like who can support us to know how to implement the digital transformation project, right? Methodological assets, tools and solutions, what are the technical partners we are having in the market to collaborate with, right? If we talk about this DT value, like I mentioned, like value propositions and value differential. So there are three areas in this we can talk about, like a product, performance, and planet. So maybe in terms of like I was mentioning about the hand wash public utility. So it was earlier it was a solid product. Now it is a liquid form or gel form. So new digital product we can think about the complete pure digital product as well, new digital service as well, digital extension, or we can say wearable smart services, right? In terms of the government side. So every information is on your tip. Performance side, we talk about the how we are going to increase the revenue of the government side and how we are going to make use of the network of the collaborators. If we talk about this planet, like a social, institutional, and other one, so carbon footprint integration, that means environmental sustainability. So we should not forget while we are implementing digital or digital transformation that environment is there and we need to take care of the environmental sustainability in terms of the reducing pollution and such other factors. If we talk about the fourth one here, like pitfalls. So first one here is there are two dimensions in this, production and privacy. If we talk about this digital identity like Aadhaar, we have incorporated in most of the system to validate our identity, right? Access to systems, who are going to control and what are the strategies available to give the access and control to the citizens of which system or maybe public utility or public distributed systems, PDS, right? Apart from that, cyber crime, cyber frameworks are also available. We need to implement, we need to think about this. And finally, authentication system. From the government side, who is responsible to make authentications responsibility to the different users. Apart from that, if we talk about this financial management system, right? In case of this privacy, the last one here, if we talk about this data integrity, like another thing, like how we are going to share and record the data asset for a longer period and how long we are going to store and what are the privacy policies, what are the security policies we are making use of this. Now we talk about this, how we are going to write the initiatives like initiative 1, initiative 2. So digital transformation is the integration of multiple digital projects in a strategic way to achieve some objectives or maybe some digital visions of India, let's say 2030, 2035 or 2047, right? So we can think about this, all the 11 key along with the project constraints, time, budget and raise, and we can quote all the initiative that we have started from the multiple government system, or I can say multiple ministries or multiple teams. Now, let me come to the last part of my presentation, like what is our role as a policymaker, right? So let me discuss that one. That's fine that we understood or we have discussed this digital transformation, what is that, how to start, how to complete, and what are the key aspects, key elements, and what are the categories available. but as a policymakers, what is our role to develop that or to lead digital transformation in Indian perspective, right? So first one here is if we talk about this digital leadership, the meaning here is doing the right things for in a strategic way for digitalization of the government system. Now, there are four categories in this. First one is roles, second one competencies, behaviors, and enablers. I will discuss a little bit about these all four roles or digital transformation leadership. The first one here is roles. It might be that I am an individual or maybe I'm forming a team to initiate a digital transformation project, either alone or either a team, a complete team. Maybe as a mentor to support and to give a feedback like an expert, maybe as a network relationship with outside of the organization. I'm not associated with your organization. Might be I'm an expert in digital transformation. I can contribute in terms of the suggestion, in terms of like a networking partner, right? Innovators. So maybe like I was mentioning that the government is giving a funding to the multiple universities or institutions for incubators and like startups and other thing. We can ask to them. Then managers executing work, coordinators, like in case of the smart city projects, another one, we have a CEO of a smart city. So same way, we can develop some managers or to execute or maybe some other positions, those who are responsible to execute work and coordinate all the resources. The finally, strategic thinkers, those who can help us in digital vision and strategic planning, right? If we talk about this second parameter or second perspective of digital transformation leadership as a competencies, that aligning government goals with the societal wealth and sustainable growth. Please remember in this sustainable growth with the societal wealth, aligning all the government goals. Apart from that, if we talk about this, what is my role in this? Facilitating organizational changes, how to mobilize the people, like I was mentioning in the DT Compass, and what are the digital future we are thinking to lead our organization or to lead our team for the next 5 years or next 10 years, while improving the technological usage of the particular day, right? So technology is also changing. Our goal is also iterating in that case. Motivating the employees, obviously, yes, and promoting digital working automation, right? But if we talk about the behaviors, the third perspective of digital leadership, openness to experimentation. Unless we are not asking or not mobilizing our people to go for doing the new things in a new way, we will not be able to mobilize our digital culture in our organizations, right? Flexible workplace, yes, we need to give the flexibility in terms of the working hours, in terms of maybe the thinking, in terms of doing the way the employees are doing. The third one here is cross-functional collaborations. Sometimes what we have seen, like one team is not talking to other, those, but it is essential that if we allow the cross-functional collaborations among the ministries, among the different teams, among the institutions, right? And if required, delegation of the responsibilities to different people. Finally, the last one here is if we talk about the enablers, like what is a top management commitment, like a Digital India 2047, or let's say Skill India 2035, something top management commitment that we need to write or we need to highlight in that case. Allocation of the investment. We need to provide the fund to the right team so that it should not be becoming any constraint and it should not be motivated team not to work. Apart from that, last one here is involving citizens in iterations, where because we are doing for the citizens enhancement or services enhancements, maybe satisfaction, experience, exposure of the citizens from the government perspective. That means we need to involve citizens either in ideation or either in iteration process. Whenever we are going to offer some, maybe in terms of the services or maybe some products to the citizens. So what is the way forward like after this? So in this case, like digital delivering the service to citizens, enhancing citizen engagement and drive operational efficiency from the government side. So as a policymakers, we need to focus on developing this digital culture. Ideation, it has a lot of like management and methods as a single individual, as a group, and as a team also. So multiple methods we usually discuss with our team, how to generate the new ideas. Like everyone says that get the new ideas or how to get out, like think out of the box. So a lot of methods are also there to think in a different way. And how we are going to implement or how we are going to lead a digital transformation team for the new initiatives by using the technology or I can say by considering the key dimensions of technology, process, pupil, and value orientation. So that's all from my side. So giving so opening the floor for the questions, and thank you from my side.
Thank you, sir. I believe there's a question for you in the chat box. May I request you to please read it?
So chat box, yes, chat box is there.
Miss Garima Mehtani is asking, we link digital transformation with positive impacts only. However, many negative impacts can be seen. As you mentioned, deep fake among few other things. Kindly throw some light on how these negative uses can be controlled.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for asking this question. So let me explore this, or let me cover this aspect like deep fake, or maybe the fake identity, another one, or cyber crime as well. So what I have seen, like from the government perspective, we have a cyber security frameworks, we have a lot of policies implications as well, we have a rules and guidelines as well, right? But yes, there are a lot of chances of misuse of the technology like AI, and this deep fake or maybe image analytics, I can say, behind this, right? And machine learning, deep learning algorithms. So yes, so misuse might be possible, but we have a cyber teams as well nowadays, and cyber rules as well. So as a policymakers, we need to strengthen our policies and rules and regulations so that we have equal penalties, like if we are doing for the physical crimes, another one, right? So when I had a course, or when I'm doing a course in on cyber securities, so we have a lot of frameworks and policies, acts, IT acts as well. To if anyone violating, then we have a rules regulation to punish as well these people. And nowadays we can track everyone, those who are starting this one, or those who are stating like a fake viral message as well, or maybe this deep fake and other issues. So, but we need, but as the technology is going to get advanced, we need to revise our policies and IT acts as well, IT policies and privacy act as well.
Thank you, sir. There's a question for Atulan, sir, which is that there are high yielding resilient crop variety that is being developed in India. How is that impacting food production? Of course, they are resilient, so the food production is better. But if there's anything else you would want to throw light on, sir? So the
What we need actually climate resilient food grains. Okay, so even if there is a say adverse rainfall situation to some degree, which does not reduce the yield much. Okay, and because the one of the phenomenon of the high yield variety is that most of them are also very much water intensive. Okay, so from there we need a technological solution there. Okay, how we can actually develop more climate resilient crops, because you know the traditional varieties of our crops, okay, be within paddy and the wheat, they were more climate resilient, but the yield was less. Okay, so that was the problem. Okay, so somewhere how we can actually, so there is a technological solution is required here. Okay, because you know the climate risk is actually bringing various kind of challenges in front of us. Some of them are technological, some of them are financial, economic, and often they are actually interlinked. So how we can, so that is where actually we need to move forward.
Sir, there's a question that I want to ask. As you are aware that in India, a lot of farming practices are based on irrigation only. However, we are taking so many interventions, technological interventions, but still farmers are not ready to accept those interventions. They are completely dependent upon rainfall, even though they face so many difficulties and their crop production doesn't flourish as such. How, like, what suggestion you could provide so that these technological interventions can be promoted amongst these farmers?
Okay, first thing is that farmers should see that there is a economic incentive to adopt that first. And second thing is that, often if the fixed cost, the initial cost is high, okay, even if later on the variable cost is low, farmer will not adopt it. Okay. So as we said that, there is a risk, so the appetite to take risk is less for especially the smaller farmers. Okay. So if we can actually address this, that if they see that there is actually a benefit of adopting it, okay, they will adopt it. Okay. And you cannot just say that, well, there will be short-run cost and all, but a long run you will be better off. That will not work. Okay. So you have to actually, in the short run itself, you have to show that, well, it is actually beneficial. Okay. And then farmers will definitely adopt. After all, farmers are adopting machines. Okay. So why not the new techniques of climate resilient if they see the benefit? Okay.
Thank you, sir. I think at one level, both the presentations did focus on how the incentives of taking up either digital transformation or, like you were saying, the technological advancement in food production. If the incentives are visible, incentives are maybe more instant than longitudinal, the adaptation to technology at both level can be more ensured. So thank you once again, Sir Atulan sir and Harish sir, for joining us and giving your valuable time for this presentation. And likewise, we continue to have these webinars monthly. So this time we collaborated with IIM Kashipur. So on behalf of NCGG, I thank the two speakers as well as the participant who joined and participated in this webinar. We look forward to your participation in the upcoming webinars as well. So thank you, sir. The webinar has extended a little bit, but thank you for sparing your precious time for this. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Yes.